What's up everyone? This video is sponsored by Skillshare, an online platform where you can learn and kick it with some of the best creative minds in the world. In this video, we're talking about how to improve your visual storytelling, and Skillshare has loads of content about this, plus even how to better your photography and video skills. Cityscape photographer and good friend of mine, Jamal Berger, has his workshops available on the website. He talks about how to really develop your own perspective and to really differentiate yourself. He talks about utilizing symmetry to compose a photo and plays with small elements in the photo to really create that symmetry. He talks about using lines to direct movement and how to create movement with people. He also mentions his gear, which is a very important factor. This is a short and direct class, efficient for your time. Check out the link in my description below, and the first 500 subscribers get 2 months free of creative knowledge. So Peter gave me this. It's a deck of cards inside a really interesting bottle, and it's got me mind-boggled because I have no idea how you managed to put a deck of cards in this bottle. I guess it's like those ships, you know, the ones that they design, but I know those ones you can actually like design through the hole, but this, alright. Anyways, off topic, magic, something I'll never understand. But welcome everyone, I hope you're all having a fantastic day. My name's Alen. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. If this isn't, well, welcome back. Today's video topic is all about visual storytelling. This is a very important thing because all of you have been requesting for me to talk about it, and also because it's a very important process I take in terms of creating my content. I'm going to walk you through some steps, generally walk you through some of the things I would do in order to create my visuals, and to really think outside the box. So without further ado, cue intro. So the first thing I always think about when I'm about to take on a project or really go about anything that's challenging in terms of storytelling, visually, whether or not it's photography or video, is I put myself in the perspective of a writer. And if you think of like a writer, you have to put yourself in that mind state where you're like, well, I need to tell a story. And in order to tell a story, I have to have a compelling reason why I'm doing it and have the steps that really tell the story properly. It's the beginning, the middle, and the end. These are very important sequences that I think about when I'm creating my content or, you know, capturing any moment. I really try to portray a storyline based on anything that I'm capturing. And this is where you really differentiate between the purpose and the impact of the content that you're producing. So a good example of this is my Instagram account. On my Instagram, you'll notice that I never really post single images anymore. I do a series or a carousel of images. And by doing this, I'm able to get you more involved into my content and really walk through what it was like capturing those moments. Here are examples of those type of sequences I'm talking about and how they really impact the visual storytelling process. As you notice from those images, there was probably a sequence that maybe you caught but you didn't catch on to, which is fine. But in the beginning, generally, you want to lay out your content, and you want to have your exposition, and you want to have your rising elements that lead to a climax, and then you have your elements that kind of bring you back to your resolution. This is the storytelling process that a writer takes, and it's the same process I take when I'm, you know, creating the content that I'm sharing with you online. So if you do this, it really adds to your storytelling, it makes it more compelling, and it makes it more intriguing for your audience. Now you've thought like a writer, what's the next step? Well, for me, it's creating a storyboard. A storyboard is a very compelling piece that you portray in order to talk to your client about the project you're taking on, especially in commercial shoots. Wherever I get a project, an idea or anything like that, I put together a mood board or a storyboard. Now the storyboard has elements in it. It has the subjects, the characters, the settings, all the elements that you really need to focus on when you're going to do your production. And a good example of this was a project I worked with Air Canada on when we were in Paris. We had various different creators that we had to put into this video. We had to create a storyline that conveyed why Canadians are making an impact outside of the country and how they're doing it very creatively. Now, in order to do so, I laid out different images of Paris. I had each subject and images of them and the locations I want to shoot, and I had to write through step by step how I was going to tell the story. This is all part of the storyboard process. It's really conveying as much information as possible so that the client and yourself are confirmed with the content that you're going to be capturing. One thing I do notice about storyboards is how easy they make the process of production for me. Whenever I do a storyboard, I feel so much more at ease because I already know what I'm going to expect once I start production. Here's the video I'm talking about.
Canadians from coast to coast are flying the flag at home and abroad. We caught up with a few inspiring Canadians in Paris. Canadians performing on the biggest stage, who believe dreams are achieved one step at a time. Canadians exploring a world-renowned cuisine, who believe passion inspires. Canadians supporting a world free of divisions, who believe what makes us different isn't that different. By pursuing their dreams, Canadians are making their mark around the world.
So you've thought like a writer and you've done your storyboard. What's next? Well, it's a documentation process. This is where you're actually creating the content and capturing it. Now, this is a very simple note. I'm not going to dive too deep into this point, but it's very important that you do not over-direct. You want things to be taken as naturally as possible, especially the content creation process. If you overthink it, you limit yourself, and therefore you don't produce the best content possible. This is the process in which you have to think like a documenter. What does a documenter do? Well, they go in and they try to capture things as they come. It's not step by step, it's not, formulas, it's not going to happen the way you imagine it to. So just go at ease, take your time, and capture the things that you think would tell the best story and make it the most compelling without really limiting yourself. So when you're documenting, something to really focus on is familiarizing yourself with the subject. This is where you get to know the subject you're working with, whether or not it's a place, person, or thing. If I'm capturing moments from Toronto, I want to know the city. I want to know what's happening, where to go, and what's most favorable for the kind of content I want to capture. If it's a subject, like a person, I need to make sure that I know how they work. And I want to make sure that the dynamic between us is easy to work with and to make the process a lot simpler. And you want to be able to be as natural as possible with the subject so that they can be in their element too and allow them to create the best content for you. And if it's a product, well, that's a different thing as well. With products, you have to know what the brand's goals are. You have to understand what the intention of this product is and how will it best fit in the type of content you're going to capture. A good example of this is the Boss campaign I just finished. It's all about taking challenges, and it started with Chris Hemsworth actually doing this surf scene, with him spraying himself and then diving into the water. It was really cool, but I was trying to think of a way that I could best sell this product as well. And I looked at the bottle and I saw it and I was like, okay, well, this has very unique characteristics of that, that look like the ocean. The bottle has this blue tint to it. It's really masculine. It has very dynamic kind of design. And from that, I was able to kind of picture myself in a setting that best complements it. So we thought, hey, let's do something extreme. Let's go on a sea-doo, let's go on Lake Ontario, and let's go and try to capture very fast-paced elements, but also show that this bottle represents something that is very kind of lucid and fluid, like the ocean or any body of water. So there's a scene where I dive into the water. Well, I mean, I could talk about it, but here it is. You guys can just see it for yourself. It is time to let it fall. Something that I get asked over and over is, how do I compose my images? And it has a lot to do with the amount of movement I do on a set. If I'm filming, I'm constantly running around, I'm changing lenses, I'm really putting myself in the most dynamic angles possible. And if I'm doing photography, same thing. I'm moving around, I'm switching my angles, I'm thinking things in a different perspective. What would this look like if I'm standing, looking up versus looking down? If I'm really leaning in a certain angle, you want to try to complement the subjects that you're shooting. You want to make sure that you're capturing angles that are very interesting and intriguing. And these are the things that will really allow your contents to stand out. And sometimes this might be difficult because you might not be able to get around certain elements. But the way to go about that is the whole idea of changing your lenses and changing your focal lengths, your aperture. So work with your products, work with different angles, move around, and really get comfortable in the space that you're shooting in. A good example of me really thinking about composition and working with different angles is this project I did with Mercedes-Benz. It was actually my off-road training in Germany that allowed me to really think about composition the right way, and it was a testing ground. So we were doing a big trip in Japan with 2 G classes, but I really need to prepare for the off-roading experience. So my friends and I, we got a G class and we went around different parts of Germany and just went off-roading as much as possible. And while we were shooting, I was really thinking about composition. I was thinking about different angles that I really wanted to capture that most people might not be able to. And from the sequences, I was able to generate this kind of content. So take a look and think about composition here. So there you have it, guys. Those are the steps I take to really tell a compelling story. And they're not step by step. You can change them around, you can really focus on one or the other, but I think as a total, it's important to focus on as many elements as possible and prepare yourself for any shoot or project that you're working on. I'm going to actually dive deeper into all these things and even talk about more things on my website. I'm doing this blog series where I'm actually going into depth with a lot of different subjects, and this is one of them. So if you want to read more on this and find out more information, check it out, alenpalander.com/blog, and yeah, it's all in my bio. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. But this was a very short video. I hope you did enjoy it, and as always, remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys all next week. Peace!